What is up, everybody? It's your pal Joey.T. from the Cartoon.P. As you could tell, I didn't really set this up, put a lot of thought to this one because I didn't even think I was going to be making this video. I didn't even think it mattered. Like, I think there's something wrong with my camera. Like, you see a lens flare going off from the background going on over there. I kind of like it. I think it looks kind of cool. Kind of hits my arm over there. Beautifully cinematography going on there. Maybe I had some tips from Alfonso Cuarón. But holy moly, let's go ahead and just get right into it and talk about the Academy Awards. I didn't think I would make this video because for the most part, I never cared about the Academy Awards. For many years, I've always felt like I've been disappointed with the Academy Awards. And I grew up loving the show, but after a while, I felt like it just got stuck into a rut. But I can't say that about this year. I feel like things really changed for the better, but I think as a consequence for the worse. So let's go ahead and talk about the highlights to the awards. More specifically, this highlight. I know I was going to be talking about this, but let's just get it out of the way. For the first time since 2012, a non-Pixar Disney animated film wins the Academy Award for Best Animated Film. And it really felt justified. I know a lot of people feel that this award just becomes basic tripe for anything Disney or Pixar. It doesn't even matter about the quality. It started when Brave won in 2012. A lot of people felt like in a year where Paranorman, Wreck-It Ralph the first one, and Frankenweenie get nominated, and then they choose Brave over those movies, really says a lot. On top of the fact that that year was amazing as far as animation goes. You also got Rise of the Guardians, Hotel Transylvania, and no one chose those films, but they ended up going with Brave. A lot of people just lost their faith and just felt like, Pixar is just going to show up and win every award. And I had a feeling that was going to happen this year too because, truth be told, I wasn't in the camp of people that hated The Incredibles 2. A lot of people were disappointed with it. But for the most part, I was talking about it with my buddy Matt from Animation Look Back. There were some good qualities in the movie, and I think there was some great dialogue to the film, but that doesn't stop the fact that, let's be real, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was the better movie. And it's great that the awards and the Academy recognized that and led to a very great Oscar speech. So I can't say anything more than the fact that I'm just glad this Disney Pixar curse has ended. For now, I'm sure they're probably going to bounce back next year with Frozen 2. That movie looks pretty cool. I mean, we got some other good films coming out too, so we don't know. But for the most part, I'm just glad that we can start fresh with something. And this is great for superhero films. This is good for Sony Pictures Animation. The studio is really coming a long way since that hack. I mean, either way, I always felt like Sony Pictures deserves some form of recognition. But otherwise, I'm just so super excited and happy that Phil Lord, Chris Miller finally get to accept an Academy Award speech for, making a movie and not getting snubbed like they did when the Lego Movie wasn't nominated. So I'm glad that they were able to give some recognition there. And Peter Ramsey, a filmmaker that if you look into his career, has been in the business for a really long time, working on storyboards for Hulk, Tank Girl, movies that had commitment to the comic book art form, but were never really good as full movies, getting recognition as an animation director and getting the credit he deserves. I think now he's going to be working on a David Bowie biopic. I mean, I think that's what people are saying. I don't know if it's actually going to happen. I hope it does. They get the same creative team to do Spider-Verse to do a David Bowie biopic. Focusing on the fictional life of those characters. That would be amazing. But yeah, before I keep this video gushing about Spider-Verse, I'm just so relieved. And I think you guys would appreciate too that I talk about that because this is an animation channel, so it's not like it's going to be too far off if I don't talk about it. But I mean, let's talk about other things that I really enjoyed about the award show. The fact that Spike Lee, filmmaker who's been in the business for like 30 years, finally gets an Academy Award. As you guys probably know already, one of my favorite movies is Do the Right Thing. I think as far as that story goes and what it was portraying, it's one of my favorite movies of all time. So I've always been a fan of Spike Lee. As a person, I don't know. I feel like as an artist, though, he's really great. I think as a personality, though, I think a lot of people have a hard time getting along with him. But for the most part, I'm just super glad that he was able to get an Academy Award for many reasons. And it's similar because he's good friends with Scorsese, that it's no surprise that another filmmaker who for years has been snubbed by the Oscars finally gets recognition. Maybe it's a New York thing. I think Academy voters just have a hard time with New York. Who knows? But for the most part, all I gotta say is, wow. The fact that he came up looking like Waluigi. I guess it was supposed to be a tribute to Prince, but let's be real. He looked like Waluigi. Throughout the award show, he was doing these funny reactions. People are probably going to be making GIFs of like his reactionary shots. I would be one of those people too. And the fact that he gets up on stage, he accepts the award, and he's wearing the same rings Radio Raheem wore from Do the Right Thing. And he says, you know, you gotta do the right thing. I was just like, oh crap, that's awesome. But then I also heard that he walked out when Green Book won Best Picture. I mean, to be fair, I think a lot of us checked out when we found out Green Book won Best Picture. I think a lot of people are now comparing it to Crash when that won Best Picture. Let's briefly talk about that too. I won't go into it too much, but I'll just say, as far as snubs go, there were two that really snuck out to me, which was sound mixing, or I think it was sound editing. You're going to give it to Bohemian Rhapsody over A Quiet Place? And I know a lot of people felt that because it's Queen, it's music, but we're talking about like we're talking about like the illusion of sound in a movie that exists in a world where you're not supposed to make noise. How does that get beat out by a generic biopic? Blows my mind. That, to me, that was like one of my biggest snubs from last night. On top of the fact that as many people shared, a Green Book getting the Best Picture win over movies like The Favorite and even A Star is Born. I think if a Green Book wins that award, A Star is Born should have been more likely to win that award too. But for some reason, it goes to Green Book. It's like having, you know, a wonderful main course meal and then choosing Olive Garden over getting like 5-star dining, you know? It just, to a lot of people, it was very disappointing. They felt like it was just the generic Oscar choice. And I agree with a lot of people. I think it should have went to, you know, one of those films. But you know what? At least we can say the Farrelly brothers, or at least one half of the Farrelly brothers, are competent filmmakers. Could you believe that the creative team, or half the creative team from Movie 43, won an Academy Award? I don't, but here we are. I guess anything can happen. I will say, as far as like adorable speeches go, Olivia Colman, I'm not too familiar with the lady's work, but let me tell you, her speech, I was telling my buddies, like, I just want to grab her cheeks. She was just super adorable. But anyways, let's get back to like things that I just absolutely loved about this awards show. I talked about good choices like Best Animated Film, Spike Lee getting an award, which I think is also great because given that his films outside of BlacKkKlansman was like hit or miss, I think it's great that he finally gets to jump back onto something that's better. But, you know, that's just, I guess that's just the way things are. But for the most part, I've just been very happy with this award show. I think because they didn't focus so much on gimmicks, which was the problem for all the other Oscar shows for many years. Now that they're in a position where, out of an accident where they found out they couldn't have a host that had bad tweets like most people have been doing nowadays. It's like you can go on Twitter and find a bad tweet about anybody. They decided to go hostless for the Oscars. That, for the most part, I think this is a great choice for them to do something new and fresh and focus on the movies. Like, that's really what it was all about, is focusing on the content of the movies. The winners of all these films, just great variety of the films that came out in 2018, which, in my opinion, was a pretty good year for movies. I mean, listen, I know a lot of people think that art house movies that focus on all the great things should be like the winners of everything, but like, let's talk about movie industry as a general. And I mean, let's talk about all different people that go to the movies. Like, not everybody that enjoys movies are going to be the classic archetypes. They're going to be the everyman people. And the awards this year was just a great selection of diverse everyman selections. And to me, that really shows what movie making's all about. That's why I love movie making. That's why I love going to the movies. And that's evident when watching the Oscars this year. If they keep this going, I'll even tune in next year to see what happens. Even if they decide to go back on old tropes, at least it gives me faith in the film industry once again. So really, those are my thoughts on the Oscars of 2019. I seriously didn't think I was going to be making this video, but holy moly, this was a really good year for the Oscars. What do you think? Comment below, let me know what you think. Let me know what your snubs were. If you had any snubs, or if you even tuned into the Oscars this year, or if you're going to tune in next year. Comment below, let me know what you think. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this, and it's always fun making these videos. I hope you all have a great day. Take care.